Hello fellow Toytubers and collectors, it's time for a rant. And today we're going to be talking specifically about Big Bad Toy Store and Fresh Monkey Fiction. Now if you're a fellow collector who placed an order for some figures over a year and a half ago and are still waiting to get them in hand, then you can certainly appreciate the frustration behind this video. If you're unaware of the situation, then let me catch you up to speed. So about 2 years ago, Fresh Monkey Fiction teamed up with Big Bad Workshop to put out a line of action figures that they went around displaying at different toy shows and conventions. They put some pretty cool looking figures out for display, some of which were pretty far along in the production process, and some were still in hand but in grayscale, but it was enough to pique our curiosity and get us hooked. So it's called Operation Monster Force, and they came out with some pretty cool looking comic book backstories and lore, and I'm impressed, although I'm not into that part of the line. What really got me was the military part of it. And when I saw these figures out on display 2 years ago, I couldn't wait to order them. The suited bodies, the general figure, especially the multi-cam Phantom Ops Trooper, all of which filled voids in my collection. So I wanted to get those figures, and I pre-ordered them in January of 2024. That's right, as soon as that window was available, I was in there on Big Bad Toy Store putting down my order. Now, I admit it's hard to army build or to go too crazy on a line you've never seen yourself or had in your hand. And we all know that startups can have problems in that first wave or two. So I placed a modest order for quite a few, but didn't go crazy with army building until I know for sure what they're actually going to look like, because most of the photos were, of course, prototypes or hand painted. So you're waiting to see what happens, and waiting is the key word, because I've been waiting for quite a while. It's been 2 years since you put it out there and made the announcement. It's been over a year and 8 months since you took my money in the pre-order. Now, thought it was going to be ready in a year. That didn't happen. Website then announced it was going to be available to ship in the second quarter of 2025. Keep in mind, each quarter is a 3-month window. You can't give us a month out the year. You don't have any information to make it more specific. But that goalpost suddenly shifted because, as you can tell, we are way past the first and second quarter of 2025. We are officially in the third quarter of 2025, which is what the new release date is. So not a big deal in and of itself to have to wait and wait and wait. If you're a collector, you may be used to pre-ordering and having to sit on your hands and daydream of the day that you'll get your figures in the mail. But here's the thing that rubs me the wrong way. They got me interested in making this video. So I'm waiting patiently. I gave you my money. I'm checking up to see what's going on because, mind you, I've never received any notification or email from Joel at Big Bad Toy Store letting me know that my pre-order has been delayed or the release date has shifted. Now, I get messages from Target. I get messages from Amazon. I even get messages from Walmart when my pre-orders are delayed or the arrival date has changed for sooner or later. They keep their customers informed. The only message I've ever gotten from Joel was to tell me that there was going to be price hikes on the stuff I already paid for. That's right. I got a lovely email earlier in the year saying, guess what, gang? Because of tariffs, we're going to have to charge you more when your stuff finally does arrive. Well, it never arrived at the beginning of the year, and tariffs aren't really a thing like they were before. So I'm curious to see what the tariff and surcharge portion of their website disclaimer is going to look like on the items I already paid for. We'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it because, as I was saying, what rubbed me the wrong way is that I'm patiently waiting to see when my figures are going to arrive, when all of a sudden in late August I'm scrolling through YouTube, as you do, and I come to see that there are certain Toytube channels that got the entire wave in for review. And I'm left scratching my head wondering, how is it that they've already received their figures in hand when I was one of the people who pre-ordered it at the very start and gave them my money back in January of 2024 and haven't even gotten one figure sent to me. Now, they want to claim that these are early releases, so that these people can review. At the end of the day, you're sending free figures to the channels that like to promote your stuff. And I'm not going to hold it against you to do your advertising and your promoting. That's fine. But I find it kind of suspicious as a business practice that you're sending the stuff out for free to the Toytube channels before you honor the customers who have paid you in advance for these items. The customers that have been patiently waiting without so much as a notification to let us know why there's a delay. For the customers who have been sitting around waiting for the things to come in only to find other Toytubers reviewing them, stuff that they got for free. Does that make sense? Like, I know you're going to jump in the comment section and say, well, B-Rad Forever, they got to do that for marketing. They got to get people to review it so that other people will want to buy their stuff. Well, let me stop you right there, because what doesn't make sense is that you're trying to promote a product you're not even ready to deliver on. We've been sitting around waiting on this. You know what would be infinitely better marketing? If you got that into the hands of the customer that paid you money over a year and 8 months ago, and they can tell for themselves the quality of the figure. I don't need Robo to let me know how cool they are. I've already spent the money. The money's already been paid. Give me my product. I'll be the judge of how awesome it is. And then once I get it in hand and I like it, then guess what happens? I run right back and order more. And I army build. And I say to myself, I'm satisfied, so let me get more of this. But seeing a reviewer who gets it for free, give me some BS review where everything is going to be positive, doesn't give me the confidence or the reassurance to increase my order. Give me the stuff I paid for. I'm going to be able to tell if it's good. I'm going to want to buy more if it is. And if it's good, I'm going to make content and I'm going to spread the word. And you're going to get other, I don't know if Big Bad Toy Store realizes it's not that big of a community. And them getting it first doesn't make a big difference, because once people get it, they start to make content on it. The word starts to spread. But having certain Toytubers have it early for free doesn't really improve your sales when nobody else can get their hands on it, because they can't go out and buy it. They can't see Robo's review and say, oh man, I want it, let me order it, I'll get it next week. No, bro, you're gonna be sitting around waiting and waiting and waiting. And you want to know what would happen if collectors who paid for the merchandise got it in hand? These are the same people who would love to put pictures or reviews on their smaller channels, and you would be flooded with people showing off their figures. So either way, you're going to get the exposure and the press, and you're going to get it out there. But at least that way, you're benefiting the person who actually paid you money a year and 8 months ago for the merchandise. It gets in their hands. They're able to share it with other collectors. They're able to enjoy the product instead of sitting and looking at it through the screen at somebody else who got their stuff for free and is having fun with the toys that should be in our hands. So on top of making your customers wait, you're robbing the smaller channels of a chance to be able to grow and get views and have memberships or subscribers or whatever, because no one's going to be looking for that 3 months from now after every other big channel already put out a review on these items. And please explain to me why there is such a delay. We are at the end. It is September. This is the end of the third quarter. We're going to be starting the fourth quarter of the year soon. It's going to be delayed over a year longer than what you said originally, when the majority of these figures are reuse parts just repainted. You already have the molds. It's all cut and paste. The secondaries, the figures, the accessories. It's nothing drastically new that would delay it this long. If you already have the stuff made, why is it not coming out when you said it would? And if you're going to make people who paid you wait while you give it away to other influencers, and you don't even have the courtesy to give us a heads up and tell us there's a delay, why don't you do an outstanding business practice and let the customer have something for free, something that lets you know that you care about them, even though you're overcharging to begin with, and then charging surcharges and tariffs and everything else out the nose to make them pay for something that you should have given to them on time before the tariffs even hit. Why don't you show some goodwill to that customer base that's supporting you and say, hey, here's a free weapons pack for for being so patient. Here's an extra something. I wouldn't ask you to do an entire figure because I know that that would probably be too expensive from your point of view, which in reality, probably not, but would go a super long way with your customer base if they saw that minimal effort to say, wow, you care about us. We had to wait and wait and wait, and you rewarded that patience, even though we didn't get it for free ahead of time to review, even though we had to sit and wait through 1, 2, 3 delays after delays. You say, hey man, here's an extra head pack, an extra weapon pack, an extra figure, an extra something to show you that we want you to come back and keep buying these figures from us, and that this delay isn't the way we normally run our business. And that's very frustrating to wait on something when you've already paid for it over a year and 8 months ago. I keep emphasizing that because I think it's important to understand that if you're going to be a new business, that's not how you grow. You don't tell people to get excited and then sit and wait while other products come and go, while other companies start producing other things. This is a small market. The people who collect things are not going to live forever. And if you are a toy maker, then you've come to the conclusion that the next generation doesn't value the toys like we do, or play with them or collect them like we do. So your market is shrinking. It's not growing, especially for the toys that are aimed towards adults. So you're not creating a new generation of consumers or customers or fans. So the group that's here has limited shelf space, has limited money. We can't just buy anything and everything. Some of you can ball out, go for it. God bless you. But the average consumer has to start to pick and choose at some stage. And if you're going to sit around and wait while other things come out, sometimes you might miss that window. Get your product out there. Now, make your product affordable. Okay, let's go back to that pin that we put up. $36.99 per figure is a very high price point for a figure that's on par with the Marvel Legends or G.I. Joe Classified, maybe even on par with Valaverse. I can't tell you because I haven't gotten my hands on it, but all those are at $24.99 or less. And I know, you're going to say it's a niche market, it's a new company, there's a small production run, yada, yada, yada. Save it or write it down in the comments. I don't care. I get that. That's why I was willing to pay that markup and wait. Now, eventually those prices have to come down because I don't see any figure at that level being worth that price. Even Bobby Valla with Action Force has been steadily lowering his prices below $30 because you can't army build and grow. Go rewind earlier to what I just said about this market. You're going to have limited room, limited space, limited resources. You want to be able to spend that wisely and get the most enjoyment out of that. So when you start pricing things too high, you limit your customer base. Eventually that price is going to have to come down. We understand that it's high right now, but what makes matters worse is that you took my money over a year and 8 months ago, and then you're going to tell me, I can't tell you how much more it's going to be. What do you mean how much more? It's $4 for shipping. That's how much more, because we already made an agreement. I paid you my money way back in January of 2024. If the world is on fire, that's really not my problem. If things have changed with shipping, that's on you. Let me explain something to you. This whole thing of these companies coming back and saying, hey, we know we took your money almost 2 years ago and we've been spending it or saving it or doing whatever we want with it, money that you could have done stuff with, but we're going to have to get more money from you. How does that make sense? Let me put that into perspective. If you were to go right now and buy a new home and go to a builder and go into contract and put down your earnest money on a new home and sign an agreement, you know what that means? That means that when they start building that home and they realize that because of tariff, material prices have gone up, and because of stuff, labor shortages have increased the price as well, that's tough for them because you already made an agreement. You signed a contract that this is what you were going to pay for that house and not more. If things change for the better or the worse, that's a cost of doing business that they assume. Why are we as the consumers having to take on that risk? We already gave you more than what that level of figure is worth. Because we said, okay, you're brand new, you're starting up. We understand. It's not easy. We're going to take that chance, roll the dice, pay a little bit more, and hope we're satisfied. Now you're going to come back and say, we need to charge you more? No, man, that's on you. And before you get in the comments and start defending all you Shartimus Prime, big, bad toy store stands who want to go and just spout off, go ahead and write it down. I'll read it later. But let me explain something to you. Other companies aren't doing that. And for prime example, whether you love him or you hate him, Bobby Valla with Action Force hasn't been charging his consumers more because his prices have gone up. His business costs have gone up. He doesn't pass that on to the consumer because that's a cost of doing business. And if you want to be successful, you keep the consumer in mind. Now, you can do whatever you want with your business. You can charge high, you can charge low, but at the end of the day, if you want repeat business, you got to keep them in mind. So that's another aspect of the things that have been rubbing consumers the wrong way. If you have placed an order, if you feel the prices have been high and you're uncertain about the increases that they will tack on when things eventually do ship, if they ever do in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, then leave a comment down below. If you think that they need to do a better business practice, let us know your thoughts. This is just a rant with some thoughts on how they've been moving in this environment. And for somebody that's affiliated so strongly with Artemis Prime, at the end of the day, the message to Big Bad Toy Store and Fresh Monkey Fiction is, guys, do better.